but not least of our showcases today, we're going to hear from James McCann. And James is the founder of ClearStorey, which is an international public relations agency headquartered here in Dublin. They have over 10 employees now. They work with the world's most promising startups and internationally focused businesses to build their profiles in new and existing markets. So we'll welcome James to the stage.
Thanks very much, everyone. So I suppose this case study is in relation to, I suppose, ourselves. We're a PR agency in somewhat of a unique position in that we're transitioning into the tech space. We're in year 2 of a 5-year journey in terms of building a technology platform and, in concurrency with the agency itself. So I suppose a bit of context as to how our partnership with IDT and the case study itself has come about. I suppose I left Web Summit as a former PR manager for them for a number of years. I left on my last paycheck and started working out of libraries. And I suppose the first office we ever got was in Harold's Cross. It was a very small room. My next door neighbour was a therapist. Which wasn't great for him because every time I was having a stressful moment, I'd be hopping a tennis ball off the wall, and he lost a couple of clients. It cost me a couple of bottles of whiskey to smooth the whole thing over, and it just wasn't, when you're trying to build a company from the ground up and trying to I suppose learn. This is my first time building a business. You've a lot of challenges in terms of HR, in terms of staff, just in terms of finding suitable office space, and the lessons that you learn never stop coming. And I'm getting a lot of grey on my beard, and I can't really explain it, but I'm pretty sure it's the stress. So I wanted to kind of basically talk you guys through I suppose the nature of the partnership that we form with IDT and the benefits we've got from that. I suppose first came into the Media Cube in IDT about 1.5 years ago. It was on the recommendation of a friend of mine who should have been speaking here today, Brendan Kiley, who unfortunately was taken away. But he recommended that I come in as a young growing business that was looking to get into the innovation space that would give us a lot of benefits. So I suppose in terms of kind of how we went through things, I'll take it through the approach and value proposition as everyone else. But I suppose our aim was to scale internationally. So having appropriate office space for that was very important. Having a network that could teach me what I needed to know to help scale the business was just as important. Our aim, was to reach 1 million turnover within 3 years and have that, 10 employees. That's, I suppose, the category we're looking for to qualify for Enterprise Ireland and the HPSU network. And so far we're on course to do that. We've 10 employees at the moment. We're about the 500,000 mark in terms of turnover, and we're 2 years of age, and I have a lot of pressure on myself to double the size of the business in a year, but sure, look, no worries. But I suppose what the Media Cube were looking for at the time was companies with a bit of an X factor, and I suppose our whole aim here is to build a platform that leverages artificial intelligence and data science with the view of trying to create an automatic kind of press release writer, or to help certainly PR agencies recommend or startups recommend with kind of press release writing. In terms of I suppose the outputs that we got once we came into the Media Cube and started that partnership with IDT, first of all, community network and knowledge was a fantastic asset. So every time I was having a meltdown for a certain scenario that I hadn't come across before, I was able to run up the stairs to one of the many companies that are in the building and say, how do you get money out of customers? How do you chase down kind of potential candidates? All of these kind of new experiences that we are coming across on a daily basis. You have a network there that you could link in with. There's also a vast amount of knowledge that you can tap into, both in terms of the enterprise campuses in the various universities, but also a lot of the lecturers, a lot of the staff. There's a lot of I know IDT run an entrepreneurship course, for example. They've quite an awful lot of experience there, and Anne-Marie was always more than happy to put us in contact with whoever we needed to talk to get that advice. Over the years, as we've kind of begun to hire and scale, we've had kind of particular needs in terms of recruitment. We've taken a number of interns now, I think 3 from IDT at this stage, all of which came from either their arts and media programs or their entrepreneurship programs, and they've provided us with great value in terms of the skills that they bring to the company. They're very fast learners. I've always felt that they've been a little bit of orientation to the workplace, but more than likely good to go. And in some cases very unique skill sets that we would not have otherwise had access to at such an early stage of our development and growth. So that was a huge asset. Erasmus was of particular importance to us now in the last 6 months. One of my first hires, given that we're an international agency, we need French, German kind of language capabilities. But one of my first hires was a translator by trade. He speaks French, German, Spanish, Italian. He's best known for translating Peaky Blinders into German, which is quite a good achievement. But we need kind of other language skills, Hungarian, Mandarin, Korean, for example. And Erasmus gives us an opportunity to go to a lot of the universities, not just IDT, and ask, look, can we take an intern from China, for example, or from Hong Kong, that we can bring in and see if we can develop a new way of kind of liaising with journalists in that region, or even just to bring us some local cultural knowledge that we can add to our everyday operations. So that's been a fantastic asset to us. Lecturing, so I suppose this is one of the serendipitous kind of elements of when you're working closely with one of the institutes or universities. I was asked to lecture on digital PR for one of the programs early last year, and it resulted in me meeting 20 very keen, eager students, some of which were very interested in getting a career in PR, one of which I hired, and that's something that has been again a massive asset. As Siobhan was saying, we're in an economy with full employment. It's very difficult to get your company in front of great talent, especially companies that are very young and bootstrapped, in a sense that you can't pay massive salaries. So it's been an enormous advantage to us to be able to get in front of a lot of the younger candidates coming out into the workplace. And then finally, there's been a number of kind of aspects that we haven't taken advantage of yet. Innovation vouchers, for example, that we're starting in January in terms of kind of starting our tech development, everything from research and UX UI auditing that the university offers. So there's quite a vast array of services that from our perspective has been crucial to help us grow our business. Again, the added value, having access to that enterprise network. So, I wouldn't have known about New Frontiers as a program, as a new startup founder, which was, again, fantastic asset for me to get a bit of context as to what the enterprise community is like in Dublin and in Ireland, and also, how to go about, some of the weaker points that I might not have known from a business perspective, and how to make those corrections. Getting access to the Enterprise Ireland network, for example, has been fantastic. Again, about kind of exchanging skills and knowledge to help kind of young founders, or I suppose you can have very skilled executives with 20, 30 years experience starting a business for the first time, and having access to other people who've been in their shoes is a massive asset. And then obviously, negotiating the local enterprise office network, being verified as a partner with one of the universities or one of the institutes is a fantastic asset as well to give you, I suppose, credibility, which as a young company is always the thing you have least of. You're still trying to find your place in the market. You're still trying to convince people that you're serious, that you have the potential to earn money and revenue and hire people and hit all the key metrics. So every little helps in that regard. again, having access to staff expertise, having access to a talent pool for any young company is vital. And I suppose a very added bonus is that we, in the Media Cube, we have access to a venture capital community, enterprise equity. I've gotten very good friends with Tom at this stage from one of their founders, who puts me on the straight and narrow in terms of kind of targets. So he, I suppose getting that context as to what venture capital founders look for and how to attract investment later on as we go down that journey. And I suppose again, in our circumstance, I'm still a 100% shareholder, which means that I suppose I still have a lot to I suppose it gives you that flexibility to scale, in that I don't need to give equity for experts, or I don't need to kind of jump too soon in terms of the equity period, because I have a good support network around me. So it's just great from that standpoint as well. In terms of reflection, so I kind of view the Media Cube and our partnership with IEDT is kind of guardrails for early stage companies. It gives you that opportunity to learn without failing. I could still be in a small office in Harold's Cross hopping that tennis ball, but I've managed to get myself into a circumstance where I have a support network, people that I can lean on, people that I can ask questions of. It takes the edge off recruitment, it takes the edge off trying to access kind of supports and funding, and it's been very crucial to our success so far. Access to resources, access to information, I've covered that, and just kind of, as I say, random opportunities. Natasha, I think, was stuck for a speaker there yesterday. Anne-Marie picked up the phone, would you mind speaking? And here I am. So it's been fantastic for opportunities as well, and just again that serendipity element. Every time you take an opportunity that have come through one of the university programs, or whether it be New Frontiers or anything else, good things can happen, and they bring you down different directions. So yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.